Asteroid of fear.
Welcome to another episode of the Men of the House podcast. That's right. So I feel like I owe you guys another one, a bonus, a little makeup for the last one. Um, Everybody's gone from the house. We're back to regularly scheduled programming. Yeah, that's what it is. The wife's at work, the daughter's at school, mom's working from home. I did my morning routine, went to the park, got my steps in, and here we are recording. Yeah, I was supposed to actually be recording with um, Ryan McCauley. He will be one of the next few episodes. He had a little shift in plans, but these things happen. That's kind of the importance of remaining flexible. So we bend without breaking. Don't get all haywire when things don't go as planned. It's so funny because, for me, I can be very, I can be very laid back when it comes to these kinds of things, but then I can also be very wound tight and get super spun out when things don't go when things don't go as planned. And some of that's all dependent on maybe if I had some edibles or not. A lot of times those edibles they just make things roll off the back a little easier, kind of like a little dose of, it's okay. Everything's going to be all right. It's not a big deal. Part of that comes from me just being so OCD, a perfectionist, a people pleaser. It's super easy for me to get bent out of shape when things don't go as planned. And that was kind of what I wanted to talk a little bit about today. Now that I've been thinking about it, kind of putting some of these pieces together, is that, I keep shifting. Um, the podcast, coaching, designing a life that's suitable for me, that I can do from anywhere, and, you know, focus on being a good father and a good husband, is that I lost my train of thought. How about that? I might have to pause it here to get it back. Something was kind of going through my brain. Oh, yeah, I was talking about. So I'm kind of getting to these seasons, contracting, expanding. What I need is kind of more consistency. I feel like I spent 3.5, 4, 5 months. I was grinding it out. I was kind of on a routine when we were at Bucks. And then once that was done, my routine kind of got all out of sorts. And I'm just now kind of trying to get it back together. I'm like if a wheel with gears, like it's just having trouble, like taking hold, getting things kind of moving. I feel like my life for a while was rushing from red light to red light. And eventually you end up in the same spot, only kind of more burnout. And what I need is kind of some consistency, and that means consistency with not feeling like I'm sprinting super hard and then I kind of burn out. And then I need all this rest, kind of like, my past 4 days. Other than last night, I had like a 97% sleep score and then three 100s in a row. But let me tell you, it was almost too much sleep. actually, way too much. I felt groggy. I almost felt worse than like today when I got a 80 something percent, about 6 hours of sleep. So yeah, I felt like I ran myself ragged, just grinding and pushing so hard. And then I have to like recover. I need all this time off. It's like and like doing that 20 miler. Like I just push myself to the limit, figure out where my breaking point is, almost break myself, and then I have to recover from it. Needless to say, I need to be a little bit smarter. I need to pace myself. It's not a life is not a race, it's a marathon. And I had this thought of um there's a couple of thoughts. You know, One is it because I'm 48 and I got laid off 5 years ago and had to reinvent myself and trying something totally new, working on year two of it, podcasting and coaching. And, at 48, you think like your safe bet is to use your degree, go back into corporate, and just get a steady paying job, security, if you will. But, what I learned through that layoff is there's really no such thing as security. And I've lived my life for others for so long, and we're okay. And I have everything I need. And sometimes I have to slow myself down and go, yes, everything's fine. Enjoy the moment. Um, Stop living in lack. There's that whole living in lack versus abundance. You get more of what you see, what's at the front of your mind. And I had to ask myself, am I living in lack? Because I feel like maybe I'm too old and I feel like, man, I should be way further ahead than where I am. Am I ever gonna make it per se, whatever making it is, to where I would say comfortable, fulfilled, you know? Am I gonna be able to give my daughters and my wife the life they deserve? Um, Part of me sacrificing and going to grad school and spending weekends and waking up early and, biting the bullet for 15 months on that was to provide some sort of security for them. And then that was ripped out from underneath me. And, and so, yeah, everything's been taken care of. God, the universe, He's lined up all these opportunities for us. And things have come along at the right time. Yet lately, I feel so much in lack. Everything makes me cringe. The words I wanna. My wife and my daughter, of course, we want to take a family vacation, and we've been saving, and we have it, but sometimes it just makes me cringe, and I don't know what it is. Um, I don't know if I'm afraid or if I'm more I want to save or what it is. I know I want to give them more. I want to provide a level of security for them that they don't have to worry. But trying to make it on your own, man, it is fucking hard. Um, but it's right before noon, and as I'm recording this, and I've already gotten so much done, I feel like I'm getting back into the routine. And that's why I'm recording. That's why I'm probably going to release a second one. And if I have to record again this weekend and release a third one, so I can maybe go on a Monday, Friday schedule. I don't know yet. But I have to get back in the habit. I have to get back grinding. I have to get momentum built back up and get a drink of this bum root beer. It's the shit. Shout out to Bumstead, Bum Energy. Sponsor me. So, anywho, like I said, where you feel like you're sprinting from one thing to the next, burning the candle at both ends, and then you're having to recover. Um, it's just like this cycle of burnout and lack. And maybe it's you're going overboard too far one way and grinding out. You feel like things are possible. You lose momentum. You feel like you're broken down and literally have to build yourself back up. I mean, my walks are slower. You know, I'm old. My ribs have been hurting. And then I worked out last week and lifted, did flies. Probably shouldn't have done it. Jacked up the pec and the cartilage of my ribs. And yeah, it's just been kind of a shit show, literally. And then, like this morning, I mean, it's like my whole right side of my chest and everything was hurting. And then I wake up and it's left side of my lower back today, along with the right side of my chest. It's like, really? Wake up fucking injured, old ass mofo. But yeah, it has been, literally my walks have been slower. I'm just actually trying to get it done. you know, it's not at 100%. It's not balls to the wall, just trying to get it done. Hence recording another episode, getting in these reps, getting back on the mic, getting in the habit of editing, making clips, posting. Because I can tell you, when I stopped my podcast and stopped posting, my YouTube numbers went to dog shit. I mean, they just fall off. Your views are like, if you're hoping for people to discover a catalog, good fucking luck. Unless your shit's just that good. But man, if you're not posting new stuff, you're not generating traffic for old stuff. I mean, your numbers, like, to go like from 11,000 views over like a 28-day period, which is not a ton, but like, let's say that was a lot for me, to going down to like 300 views over 28 days. Yeah, huge difference. But essentially, I'm at this point of kind of building myself back up. I mean, I was in this weird state, just overwhelmed, taking on too much, and now it's time. Even though I got the recording signs up, my mom still hits up the vacuum in the middle of the day. She's OCD, especially when it comes to vacuuming. She vacuums every day. Yeah, I wonder where I get it from. But yeah, I kind of wondered about that. Am I living in lack? And is it because I feel like I don't have enough time to make it, to have the impact, to live the purpose I want? Which leads me into this, here lately, like I told my business coach, like I have trouble relaxing, kind of laying back, um, not taking everything so serious. I mean, go back and listen to some of my other episodes. I mean, I can be a jokester. I'm all about the jokes. I love to laugh. I love to wake up and watch some ridiculousness, which I haven't done in a while because my routine has changed. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I don't know that I'm depressed. I've had some slight depression and episodes of depression, but I'm having a hard time getting those laughs, almost like when I was taking antidepressants and um, felt that kind of flat, flat affect of I just didn't feel anything. I wasn't happy. I wasn't sad. And that's kind of how I've felt lately. But in this limbo of, yes, it's possible. Yes, I have a lot of life left. People live longer. You got a lot of life experience. Have a lot to offer. You have purpose. You know what you want. Stop focusing on the outcome and the results and focus on the process. Fall back in love with the process. This is what I keep telling myself. I was telling my coach, like, hey, I just, and I can't relax. I don't feel like I'm having a good time. I don't want to do anything for fun. Feel like everything should almost be business oriented. And so that's a whole different other road because I have an addictive personality and I can get addicted to being lazy, but I can get addicted to grinding too. And, you don't want to grind your life away. But it's kind of one of those things, the duality of work to live, live to work. Do you want to grind your face off and you get hit by a train tomorrow and you didn't have enough fun? Or you lived to 80 and all you did was have fun and never fucking made any sort of impact, never did anything for your family. And see, that's what I worry about. And that's why I grind. But that doesn't feel aligned as well. I don't feel like I'm tapped into the third eye spiritual place I need to be tapped into. That it's okay, it's cool, relax, let it go, laugh a little. Don't take everything so serious. Cut a joke. Life is supposed to be fun too. Yes, life is serious. And yes, what you want to do is serious. Whether it's coaching or having people change their lives, impacting them through conversation, whether it's a solo conversation and or whether it's a conversation with someone else. And I could do that format. Maybe I'll release interviews one day of the week and do a solo a second day of the week. I kind of like these solo episodes. Whenever I was with Buck and I had to cancel all my interviews and go solo because I could never rely on what time I was going to be able to do an interview, solo really, I kind of enjoyed it. I kind of enjoy it now. I just enjoy being on the mic. I enjoy getting these thoughts, these feelings out, and hopefully relating to all you as listeners. If you're going through some of this same shit, hey, you're not alone. But, perhaps I'll do guests Mondays and solos on Fridays. I just like to talk, obviously. Uh, but yeah, just like that. A genuine snicker, a genuine chuckle. I need more of that in my life. The universe and God will take care of me. Put the right people in my path, the right opportunities in my path. Stop trying to force it. Fucking let it go. Relax. Life is too short to be wound so damn tight. So I always say I'm kind of in the middle of my business coach, and then there's Kevin, the podcast coach from NLU. Those two, I feel like I'm a mix of both because I'm not overly balls to the wall serious like Alan. Um, I'm more like Kevin in some regards when it comes to that. But let's see. I wrote down some other stuff here that I wanted to talk about. Let's see. What's Oh yeah, one of the things that was interesting. Maybe I don't know if Sean Ryan will ever hear this, but I love his show. And I was listening to this interview with him and Major James Capers, and he was a gentleman in his 80s and he, Marine Corps veteran. I think he was the first Black recon Marine, which is a big deal. Pretty sure. Um, Tough training if you're into that kind of stuff. And but I just love the interview for a couple of different reasons. is it reminded me of a lot of my conversations with Buck and just finding out, and understanding um, the events of what was going on in the world that shaped the lives of these people. Um, those older generations, I mean, life was tough and they were tough men. But I particularly enjoyed him trying to keep them on topic. I could feel the struggle, when they forget stuff or you ask them a question, maybe they don't hear you or they answer it the wrong way or they answer the wrong question. But yeah, trying to keep them on track. I I can empathize with you, Sean Ryan. I had many of those conversations. But yeah, it was just great conversation, and it kind of reignited, reinvigorated that time of I got to spend with Buck, the conversations, appreciating those, appreciating our elders. That was a lot of fun. And then another one that I watched yesterday was I actually watched a show on Netflix called Con Mom, and it made me think of this time in my life. I never know if I put it in my journey, but uh, Con Mom, because she's British, is about this gentleman who was given up for adoption, never knew his mom. She contacts him 40 years later, and he ends up like scamming him, knowingly. And it just made me think of there was this time, you got to think early 2000s, like 2002, 2003, very different time when it comes to internet, cell phones, all that jazz. So I was in college. My dad was married to this woman. This woman's best friend was dating this guy, and they came to like visit. And this guy apparently, they'd come to visit a couple of times. We got to know him, and um, this guy apparently had bought some land in Australia, and they were going to move and wanted my dad and his wife and their kids to move because they were best friends. And, you know, I was even told I could go and potentially go to college down there because at that time I was a pre med major. I don't know, go back and you listen to any of my story. I kind of was a pre med major. I wanted to be a physician at one time. And at that time, I was also very interested in toxicology, snake bites, jellyfish stings, this, that, and the other. So you could imagine the potential opportunity to move to Australia and maybe go to college, because I was already in college, or pursue a graduate degree um, in that area in a place that has some of the most deadly but amazing creatures. So, yeah, I was kind of super excited about it too. And I mean, we do the whole shebang, get passports, all the stuff, all of it. And yeah, these people, I think they were living in Kentucky and they would come visit. And we were here in Texas. And, but yeah, I mean, everybody got passports, we get everything done. And then, all of a sudden, they broke up. And guess what? There was never any land in Australia. It was a whole bullshit scheme. He ended up being like a scammer or some crap, and we were all super let down. You could imagine, but kind of it reminds me of it's just amazing that some people will put so much effort into scamming somebody and doing stuff the wrong way when if you're that clever enough and you have that much effort to put in, if you just did it the right way, you'd probably end up ahead. But yeah, it also it's crazy because it reminds me of how gullible some people will be. I mean, how fucked up is that? That men do it to women and women do it to men. Take advantage of them, lie to them, blatantly, straight up lie, and ride it out to the very end. Till you can't ride it out no more. It's like, hey, let's go to Australia. I got a passport. I got everything. I already got accepted to the University of Queensland or wherever we were going. But man, people are gullible and other people will ride that shit out. And it is just, it amazes me. It is wild. And this movie kind of reminded me of that. Now scams are even more elaborate. Maybe they're easier to thwart because you have the information of the internet and you can research more. But people can do so much and make fake profiles and make information look a certain way. And so I don't know if it makes it better or worse. Either way, it's super dangerous. But it just makes me think of, men and women out there, be careful. Next time you think some nookie or some ding-a-ling is that good, you know, just do a little background check. Don't go fucking jumping all in because you feel goo goo gaga in your loins or where you think your heart is. Um, yeah, love. This guy loved his mom. She scammed him out of all this money. Love will make people do crazy shit and make you believe that you're gonna fucking move to Australia and live a whole different life. Yeah, almost many, I would say a good 85% of the bad decisions I've made probably were as a result of love. Something having to do with love, something surrounding love, the way love made me feel, the way lack of love made me feel. Then you feel, then you act impulsive if you're like me, and you're off to the races. Fucking spiraling, stuck in the doom loop. Yeah, you gotta stay out of it. The lack of love will make people do that. I did an episode on that, you know, exploring why people want love so much. But man, that desire for love can put you in some precarious situations. And I know that firsthand. That's always why I was kind of like, if I can want nothing, that whole yes, it would be nice to have X, Y, or Z, but I don't need it. I don't have to have it. I don't want it. And I don't think I ever wanted marriage or children. And I think it was just that lack of want. One, because I didn't think I would ever be able to live up to be a good enough husband or father. Sometimes I still think that way, but you know, I have my wife, my mom, my daughter, all three love me despite my behaviors and wrongdoings and faults at times. So that should tell me that, hey, I am capable of being loved minus what I achieve or what I provide. They do love me for just being me. But yeah, always feeling that lack that I would be able to be enough, which is my self worth, made me never want any of that. Even though I know all people want at the end of the day is to love and be loved. And most things we do are seeking that. And that is what we kind of consider a piece of fulfillment. And what are the greatest things if you have no one to share them with? What are the reasons I stayed with Buck so he wouldn't die alone? I mean, I'm an only child. I don't ever remember having problems being alone. And when I was alone, I don't know if I ever longed or felt like I needed someone or felt lonely. Sure, I did at times, but I'm sure I'm pretty good at soothing myself, um, having been an only child. But I do know a lot of people aren't capable, and that desire, that seeking of it, puts people in a lot of situations. It's almost the driver of life. Gets you, this is how why people move across the country for one another. Um, People go missing because they meet up with a stranger. I was just reading an article today about some 45-year-old yoga teacher in Phoenix who was supposed to be meeting up with someone, and now he was found and he was missing. And that's that to quench that love. Maybe you're quenching lust. But ultimately, I think most people who even lust want it to turn into love. So, yeah, it'll get you killed. Beatles say, all you need is love. Same medicine that heals one person will kill another. I feel like the world would be a better place if with love. Yeah. Anywho, that is about all I got to say for the day. Those were hella more clear thoughts than I had on the last episode. Getting back in the hang of this, getting in the flow, ready to get some interviews on board and get some shit taken care of. But I'm going to go out, got to run some errands, go see my pops, go pick up my daughter, and just continue to have a good rest of the week. Continue to get back in the groove, continue to put in the reps, and remind myself to enjoy it, give myself some grace, just let go a little bit. It's going to be all right. Always has been, always will be. You've done things that have defied all the odds in the past, things that made no sense. When your path is divine, set forth by God, He'll take care of it. Don't worry about the how. Just do your part. Enjoy the process. Make sure your intentions are right. Come from a place of pure intention. Continue to put one foot in front of the other. Get back to enjoying the process. And remember, go out and be the person that you would want to meet. Until next time, peace.
joke.